Welcome to the Crack House Chronicles, your favorite true crime podcast. I am Donnie, and with me is a man who knew his life would end up in the gutter. He just didn't realize that everybody else would keep on bowling. It's Dale.
Yeah, man. I thought I was going to be out of the gutter and falling off the house. That's wondering I can't get my balls off the roof. I keep rolling them in the gutter.
Oh, good gosh. What's going on, dude?
What's up, man?
Hey, same old, same old.
Same old. Good day. Happy birthday to me.
Dale's putting on a birthday today as we are recording.
I'm telling you, I'm here for you guys.
And everybody has blew up Facebook today wishing him happy birthday.
Happy foot.
Well, I got my tongue tangled there.
Yeah, man, you guys are awesome. I really appreciate all the well wishes. I mean, it's just more than I deserve.
He is well blessed.
Really, really cool.
Yep.
Man, I'm telling you, from all around the world.
Yeah, it's
great
awesome.
Day. Been
awesome.
A great day. Great day.
Yep. Can share the birthday with you doing a podcast.
Heck yeah, babe.
Mm-hmm.
All my family here.
Yeah.
That's right.
You got any good shout outs, bud? Anybody you want to mention?
I do got a few today. Let me get my paperwork up here. First of all, we'd like to shout out to our friend Nicholas Smith, who dropped a few bucks in the gas bucket with by a PayPal donation.
Oh, thank you, Nicholas.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. Thank you very, very, very much. And we have a brand new Patreon member today. We would like to say thank you so much and shout out to Megan Stamp in the UK.
Yep.
And Megan, if you would, shoot us your address and we'll send you some really cool stuff.
Yep. Anybody that joins Patreon, you'll just put your mailing address in there when you join up, and that'll save some time, and we'll get you some cool stuff in the mail.
That's right, that's right. And one more shout out today. I was talking to a guy, so give out a shout to Ricky Oakes. He said he lived here in Shelby for a while, and he said then he moved to Lincoln, but he just recently got turned on to our podcast. He was listening to the Ace at Degree episode, but he really thought that the Jeepers Creepers dude was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So we really appreciate you joining the family and jumping in there and listening to some stuff.
That was awesome.
So whoever turned you on, we appreciate you.
Yeah, and turn everybody else on.
That's right.
But not like that, but just turn them on to our podcast.
Oh, you can turn them on like that too.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do.
Whatever floats your boat.
That's right.
That's it, man. And if anybody wants to go to Apple Podcasts, if you click the 5-star, please write something in the box. We're getting a lot of people who just clicking that 5-star, and we really appreciate that a lot. But
yeah, we love the stars, but we like to give a little thank you back.
Yeah, if you write something in the box, it counts, and we will be notified, and you will get a big old shout out, because we have no idea who clicks those 5 stars.
Yeah, if you don't write anything in the box, it's just a star.
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter what you write, just as long as you write something.
Yeah, just tell us hey, and tell us how great we are, or something sort of mediocre like that.
Yeah, that usually works.
Yeah.
And we'll get you shouted out.
We will.
We will.
Yep, and get you a hoodie from the store page, get you something cool.
That's right.
Winter's here.
Or something warm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is time for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially during this little rainy, nasty day.
Yep. It's nasty here.
Yes.
But it's better than working.
Ain't that the truth?
Yep.
Everything's better than working.
Ain't that the truth? If nothing else, dude.
All right, then.
We're going to get started on this episode.
You know what? Keeps us from getting yelled at. Let's roll.
All right. But this episode, dude, we are going to the Southwest.
All righty. Been a while since we've been out.
Yeah. We're going across the country to the southwestern part of the United States, and we're going to Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Okie doke.
Yep. And just a little bit of background on Las Cruces, New Mexico. It is about 45 miles north of the U.S.-Mexico border. And it's just a short drive from El Paso, Texas. And today, Las Cruces has a population of around 100,000 people.
Pretty big.
Yeah, making it the largest city in New Mexico. Well, actually, the second largest city in New Mexico.
I was going to get you.
Yep. But 30 years ago, when our story takes place, the population was half of that, and just had over 50,000 at the time. Yep. And New Mexico State University is the state's only land-grant university, and the city of Las Cruces has really grown around this university.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of those residents have come because of that school.
Yeah, but we just want to give a little bit of background on where we're going this week and go from there. But our story takes place, actually it starts on February the 10th of 1990, and this is on a Saturday. And this is when Stephanie Senac, she's 34 years old, and she arrives at work that morning.
Yep.
And she works at the Las Cruces Bowl.
Yeah, it's a bowling alley.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she is the manager of this bowling alley. But she also just happens to be the daughter of the bowling alley's owner, Ronald Senac.
Yeah, it's like a big family business, I think.
It is.
Yeah.
And on this particular day, she had with her 12-year-old daughter, Melissa Repass, and a friend of hers whose name was Amy Hauser.
Yes.
But it just so happened these girls were friends because her mother, Stephanie, was dating Amy's father.
Right. Yeah, they went to school together, and I think when they realized that their parents was dating, they just really instantly became best friends.
Yeah, they were like sisters almost in a way.
I think Amy was 13, so she's just a year older.
This made it, this fit right in for them.
Yeah.
But like I said, they were very close friends, and they also helped out in the bowling alley's daycare. Since this was family owned, they'd go there, I guess maybe in the evenings or weekends, and just help supervise some of the kids that were there and just give them things to do while I guess their parents bowled or done whatever they did.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, this was at 8 a.m. on this Saturday morning, and both Melissa and Amy were with Stephanie in Stephanie's manager's office. And Stephanie was getting ready to open for the day. I think the bowling alley opened at 9.
Yes.
And this was about 8. And she was going through some of the receipts and the money from the prior night because, this Friday night, that's when the leagues are bowling and there's probably a lot of cash going on.
Yeah, it's a big adult league night.
Yes.
Lots of cash.
Yeah. Amy and Melissa, they went over to the snack bar.
Yes.
And I guess they were going to find them something to eat or some breakfast. And this is when Ida Holguin, she was the snack bar chef, I guess you would call her.
Yes.
Yeah, she was getting ready, preparing for the day, getting everything ready.
And they were prepping food.
Yes.
And getting everything ready for when they opened up.
And they were going to get them something to eat, but she told them that she just didn't have time to fix them anything at the moment. They'd come back after a while and she'd fix them something.
Yeah, she'd be glad to, but right now she just didn't have time. She was really rushed and busy trying to get ready for opening.
Yeah, now while these two girls were at the snack bar trying to find them something to eat, Steve Senac, he is the brother of Stephanie.
Right.
The opening manager, and he's also the uncle of Melissa. And he wasn't working there on this particular morning, but he had just stopped by.
Yeah, he had worked late Friday night, I think.
Yeah. And it said, been reported that he had left a book bag there.
Yeah, he left his backpack in there, and he was going to some kind of class that morning, so he was just swinging in to pick it up.
He had forgot it that night before.
Yes.
So he went in to get his book bag, and when he got to the bowling alley, he noticed that the front door was unlocked.
Yeah, which is weird.
Yeah.
And he didn't like that at all.
No. So
he's supposed to leave it locked until opening hours.
Yeah. So he went in and talked to Stephanie, his sister, for a few minutes and reminded her about the door.
A little chastising.
Yeah, told her to leave the door locked.
He didn't want nobody walking in.
Yeah. So this is when he grabbed his book bag and he left.
Right.
Yeah, he wasn't there long. He got his book bag and walked out the door. And I don't guess he locked it on the way back out. He just...
No, he did not.
Because I'm assuming that me and you talked about this. He
Yeah.
probably had to have a key to lock it from the outside.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. You had a key to on either side of the door.
Yeah.
Because you usually don't want to flip switch on a business door because then just somebody could just lock out your clientele and you didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right. So he left. Now at around 8:20 that morning, 2 men had stormed into the Las Cruces Bowl deal.
Mm-hmm.
But neither of these guys were wearing masks or any kind of gloves or anything like that.
Yeah, they weren't trying to hide who they were.
No. But they stormed in through the bowling alley's unlocked front door, and one of the men was holding a .22 caliber pistol, and he pointed the gun at Ida Holguin, the cook there in the snack bar.
Right.
And then he demanded her to head towards the manager's office. But it wasn't until Ida, Melissa, and Amy were ordered into the manager's office that's when Stephanie realized that these intruders were inside the bowling alley. Now, the 2 gunmen demanded the 4 women to lie down on the floor.
Right.
Yep. Now, these 2 intruders, they promised the women that they were going to let them go if their demands were met. But they were rummaging through stuff like they were looking for something, is what had been reported.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, going through filing cabinets, drawers, just looking for something. And this when they told Stephanie, the manager there, to open the safe.
Right.
Because she was the only one there that could open it.
Yeah, the only one.
Yep. And Stephanie opened the safe for the gunman and allowed them access to thousands of dollars. And it was estimated that there was somewhere between $4,000 and $5,000 in that safe.
Right.
But it's never been told exactly how much it was.
Well, they stole $4,000 or $5,000. There was quite more in the safe, I think.
Yeah.
But they left some cash behind for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
which is really weird to me.
And yeah, they didn't steal all of it, which is this is weird.
I think they took around $4 or $5 grand, but they left whatever was left there. And I've never heard how much was left, but they definitely left some there.
But now, after they gathered up this cash, they seemed like they were ready to get a getaway.
Yeah.
But in the confusion of all this stuff going on, it seemed like their robbery or whatever they were planning on doing was interrupted.
Yep.
And this is when Steve Teran, he was a 26-year-old mechanic there at the bowling alley. He worked on the mechanisms, making sure all the lanes were working
Properly, yes.
in the background.
That's right.
Yeah. Just a little bit of background on him. He was a pretty good guy, a loving young man. He was known for his rigorous moral code, what they described him.
Right. I always want to do the right thing.
Yeah. And he had recently attended a military school and was in the New Mexico National Guard.
Right.
And all of his loved ones stated that he planned to become a police officer in the near future.
Yeah, actually, he had turned in his notice there. I think he had turned in his 2-week notice just a few days earlier at the bowling alley.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to go be in law
He only had a few more days to work, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in addition to being married, Steve had 2 kids. His 6-year-old stepdaughter, Paula Holguin, which is no kin to Ida.
Even though he got the same last name. Yeah,
the snack bar lady.
Not related.
And his 2-year-old biological daughter, Valerie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on this day, this Saturday, February the 10th of 1990, Steve had been unable to get some kind of daycare for his 2 daughters. His wife, Audrey, I think she was attending some kind of class at the nearby university.
Mm-hmm.
So Steve was in charge of watching the girls, and unable to get a sitter, he decided to take them to work with him.
Well, why not? They got a daycare. So,
yeah.
You know,
so
kind of works out.
Yeah, let them watch them. I think he had done this before.
Probably.
Yeah.
So no big deal.
So just after 8:20 a.m., Steve entered the Las Cruces Bowling alley with his 6-year-old Paula and his 2-year-old Valerie with him. And as they walked through the unlocked front doors, they were surprised to see nobody in the lobby or the kitchen.
Yeah, it's like nobody was there. It's weird.
Mm-hmm. So Steve, they started walking toward the manager's office, where they stumbled upon this crime scene going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not good.
Now, 2 armed men inside the manager's office, they started fighting with Steve. So they got into a scuffle.
Yeah.
And within moments, they had pretty much taken over Steve. They got the best of him.
Well, 2-on-1, and they both got guns. So.
Yeah. And him and his daughters were cornered along with the other women there in the little manager's office.
Yeah, I wonder how big this office was. That's a lot of people in a little office.
Well, I've seen pictures of it. It didn't seem very big at all.
Okay.
Now, the 2 gunmen, they opened fire on the victims, Dale, shooting each of the 7 hostages multiple times. And each of the victims were shot in the head, execution style.
Even the kids, yeah.
Yeah, including the teenage girls, Melissa and Amy, as well as Steve's 2 little girls, the 6-year-old and the 2-year-old.
Yeah, they were just shooting the hell out of everybody.
Yep. And the gunman left the room believing they had killed everyone in the room.
Yeah, they had shot, I think, reported 25 times.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know what kind of magazine or revolver or what kind of 22 they had, but that's a lot of shots for 2 guns. Maybe they had 3 guns.
And they had also set fire to the office.
Yeah, I think when they were going through all that stuff, they were throwing papers out on the desk, and I don't know what they were looking for, if it was a paper or something hid in the file cabinet or what, but they were throwing stuff out, and when they left, they set a bunch of those papers on fire on top of that desk.
Yeah. And it's believed they were hoping to maybe destroy some of the evidence that left there.
Well, they sure done that.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and like I said, also, if they were looking for some kind of papers or anything, if they set a bunch of stuff on fire, you'd never know what they took and what got burnt, and you know, it just messed up everything as far as crime scene wise.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
And the gunmen, they had this opportunity to make their getaway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they're pretty much thinking we've killed everybody in here. I mean, they even reported that they shot the smallest girl right in the forehead.
Yeah,
which is pretty damn.
That's evil, man.
It is. I just don't understand.
Now, at 8:29 a.m., the Las Cruces emergency dispatchers, they received a 911 call from inside the bowling alley. And on the other end of the line was 12-year-old Melissa Repass,
right.
Stephanie's daughter.
She had survived the shooting.
Yes. And I'm going to tell you, I have listened to this 911 call
too many times.
Many damn times.
It gets me every time.
Oh, it gives me cold chills. I cannot imagine what this little girl was enduring, what she was having to look at in there in that office. But we've got that 911 call here, Dale.
Yeah, let's play that.
It's
now.
about a little over 4 minutes long.
Yeah, it's pretty long, but we need to play it.
Yep. All right, here we go.
All right.
Emergency.
Please help me.
Well, slow down.
We were all shot and hold up.
Okay. Where are you at?
1201 East Amador, Las Cruces Bowl.
Las Cruces Bowl?
Yes.
Okay, and there were shots fired?
Yes. All of us were hurt.
Huh?
All of us were hurt. I think I'm the only one conscious.
All of you were hurt? Okay, we'll get an ambulance rolling.
Please.
Okay. What's your name?
Melissa Repass. Please hurry.
Okay, Melissa, we've got them dispatched. Did you see who did it?
No, sir. They told us all to get down. They shot me 5 times.
Okay. We'll get them rolling, Melissa. Just hang on. Take a deep breath. We've got patrol units in route. How many people are hurt?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7 people are hurt?
Yes, I think.
7 subjects hurt. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, Melissa.
It hurts.
It hurts. Okay. Melissa, I've got an ambulance and I've got the police officers en route. They'll be with you just shortly.
Okay.
Okay? You didn't see what any of the men
They
were
just took
wearing?
all of our money.
You didn't see what any kind of the men were wearing or anything?
No.
Nothing, huh? They just walked in?
Uh-huh.
Do you know if they were black men, white
With
men?
one black man. They're both black.
2 black men?
Yeah.
Okay. No, they've left. 2 black male.
Please hurry.
Okay. It's okay, Melissa.
There's a fire, too.
There's a fire?
Right on the desk. They're going to burn us up.
Are the men still there?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. They put us in the office.
They put you in the office?
Yes, I need a fire engine, too. Please help me.
10-2. Okay, Melissa. She said they locked them in the office. She doesn't know if they're still there or not.
The door's open. There's a fire.
It's on Amador, yeah.
Please
Can you
help.
smell smoke, Melissa?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay.
Can I get the fire
Fire
extinguisher?
department, too?
Yes.
She says she smells smoke. They may have lit the building on fire.
No, it is on fire.
It is on fire.
It is.
Okay, Melissa.
Can I go get
Stand
the...
by utility 1.
Oh, ow.
Okay, Melissa, we've got them coming, hon. We've got them coming. Is somebody
Please hurry, my mommy.
Okay, Melissa. There's a police officer there now, okay?
There is?
Yes, there is. He's going to try and find you.
We're in the office. Just tell
Stand
me.
by at 33 traffic.
God,
Okay.
I'm gonna die. I know it.
Hold on, Melissa. We've got the ambulance coming. They're just down the street. Huh? She advises all 7 are shot. They're injured. They're in the office. Where's the office at,
You
Melissa?
go in the door, in the front desk, and then you take a right, and we're right in the building.
Okay. She says you go in to the first desk, take a right, and they're right there at the office. Okay, I'm giving the directions on how to get to you, to the police officers that are there.
Oh, my God. Please help me.
We're helping you, Melissa. We've got them rolling. Okay? You got to be brave. Got to be strong now. Okay?
Oh, God. It's going to burn us right now.
Okay. Can you see flames?
Yes.
Okay.
It's burning us.
Okay.
Oh, I got bullets in my feet.
Okay.
The bullets in my head.
The bullets in your head, too?
I can't. None of them are conscious. I'm still here.
Go ahead. I hear the officers telling you to get out. Get
I
out.
can't. There's nobody else.
Was that the police officer telling you to get out?
Yeah.
Then get out.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, Dale. Yeah, I can't say enough about Melissa Repass, man.
I'm telling you.
This little girl, the gumption she had and the holding herself together to be able to tell emergency officials what was happening and what was going on in the...
After being shot 5 times and still being that calm and having her wits about her to be able to even find the damn phone to call, much less to be able to give that kind of information.
And it sounds like she's trying to tell him about the money, but she gets cut off on that part.
Yeah, he cuts her off a couple of times, but I mean, and sometimes I kind of get pissed off at this dude, but then again, I guess he's really just trying to keep her calm by making it seem like it's not as bad as it is.
Yeah.
You know, but it's still hard sometimes. But man, when she said it hurts, that just kills my heart, man. Because I got a little girl. Well, they ain't little no more, but I have girls, and that just kills me.
Yeah. And then her talking about the fire.
Yeah.
And then
going to burn up.
Burn up, yeah.
And then worried about her mom. And to think you've been shot 5 times and you're just worried about everybody else.
And she's wanting to go get a fire extinguisher.
Yeah. Can I go get it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but her quick thinking, man, I mean, it ended up saving her life.
It did.
Yeah. But she's on the phone with 911 trying to get help out there. And I can't say enough about the emergency service there, man. They were there quick.
Within 4 minutes.
Yeah. It was fast.
That's impressive.
And they came in and got Melissa.
Yep.
Now, because the fire that had been started, first responders radioed in for immediate backup, and they began hauling in all 7 of the bodies inside the manager's office into the lobby out there in the bowling alley. And once out there, they were able to start treating all the victims, Dale.
Yeah.
Who were, for the most part, just bleeding and unconscious. Now, 12-year-old Melissa Repass, this is when it made the 911 call, her 34-year-old mother, Stephanie Senac, and 33-year-old Ida Holguin were all stabilized and rushed to Memorial General Hospital in Las Cruces.
Mm-hmm.
Valerie Teran, she was Steve's 2-year-old daughter, went along with him, but would end up passing away on the way to the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess maybe she was showing some signs of life there at the bowling alley. I don't know.
Yeah, didn't hurt him to try.
Yep. And the other 3 victims, 26-year-old Stephen Teran and his 6-year-old daughter, Paula Holguin, and 13-year-old Amy Hauser, were all pronounced dead at the scene. But the paramedics and EMTs had responded quickly, like we said, but they weren't able to save them. It was just so brutal, man.
Yeah, I figured, especially Steve was probably pretty instant. They probably made damn sure after him fighting back.
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably got it pretty bad.
But the firefighters were able to put out the fire inside the manager's office, but investigators would later worry about the cost of fire, later destroying the evidence like we talked about.
Right. But, when you got to pick between saving somebody's life and a little bit of evidence.
You just got to go with the life, man.
Yeah, every time.
Yeah, exactly. And for the meantime, police officials began coordinating with the U.S. Border Patrol.
It's really impressive how fast, and how responsible these folks were here.
Yeah. And they were spreading the word throughout the area, establishing roadblocks and keeping an eye out for local suspects.
Mm-hmm.
And
they put up, I think, 10 different roadblocks around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and another thing about Melissa, we was talking about, her being so calm. That she had only learned how to do this just like a week or so before in school, how to call 911 and what to do if you ever got in trouble.
Yeah.
So it's really amazing.
Well, she paid attention.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, in her 911 call, Melissa had identified
the perpetrators.
Yes, as black men.
Yeah.
But it would change with the police believing that the suspects were Hispanic men with dark complexions.
Yeah.
Who were probably planning to leave the area or even the country.
Well, hell, they ain't but 40 miles from them. They're going.
Yeah. I mean, they could be in the border,
across the border, yeah.
Less than an hour.
Yeah, easy.
Yep. Now, the events of February the 10th of 1990 would continue to shock this area, man, and even the country for many months and years after this happened. And it was actually dubbed the Las Cruces Bowling Alley Massacre by the press just a few days after.
Well, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm. Amy's parents and other loved ones were now deprived of watching 13-year-old grow up, man.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, and because she was described as a fun-loving and heartwarming little girl. Had an infectious singing voice, too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Audrey Teran, this is the widow of Steve and the mother to 6-year-old Paula and 2-year-old Valerie.
She lost everybody.
Her whole family in one swoop, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
I cannot imagine, man. Yep. And the other victims, Stephanie Senac, Ida Holguin, and Melissa Repass, would also be facing a number of issues in the days, weeks, and months to come. And
I think Melissa got out of the hospital fairly quick. Well, I mean, when I say fairly quick, I'm like 9 or 10 days.
Yeah.
But I think Ida was in there for like a month or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Stephanie's there a long time because they had a lot of, I think, shrapnel in her head and some brain damage and some stuff going on. So it wasn't like they were just went in there and put a Band-Aid on and went home.
Yeah,
it was tough.
Ida had to learn to do everything over again.
Right.
Yeah, she had to learn to walk and actually had to learn to eat again and speak and everything. Had to relearn everything.
Crazy.
Yeah. But this would affect them for the rest of their life, man.
Oh, yeah.
But the funeral and memorial services were arranged for the deceased, but this didn't stop Las Cruces Police Department from getting into action, Dale.
Oh, no.
Now, the fire inside the manager's office at the bowling alley had ended up destroying all the valuable evidence, like we mentioned.
Yeah.
Almost all the interactions between the gunman and the victims and survivors had been destroyed, man.
Well, I mean, I don't really know what all they could have found anyway, truthfully.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they didn't have no gloves and stuff, but it's a bowling alley where, I mean, there's thousands of people in there touching everything every day.
Every day.
I mean, I know it's in the office as well, but what did they touch besides, well, I guess the file cabinet, but still a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess and I think they did get a few fingerprints, actually, but I don't think everyone got anywhere with it.
Yeah.
And this is kind of before DNA was really a thing.
There was a detective, Mark Myers, who took over the investigation years later, and he stated that it was a very complicated crime scene. They had lit the office on fire. There's a clear indication they were thinking about destroying evidence that they had left behind. They weren't going to leave any witnesses, no matter how young. I have no doubt when they left, they thought everyone was dead.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he said. So it seems clear that the investigation, kicking off in 1990, this was well before DNA had really got into the swing of things.
Right. I mean, I'm sure they had it, but it wasn't like a major tool like today.
And they started canvassing people around the area, looking for anyone that might have seen or heard anything.
Right.
And they were able to find a couple of witnesses, at least. One who claimed they had heard the shots happening from a nearby businesses. And
there was 25 of them. Surely somebody heard something.
Yeah. And the other witness, who also worked nearby, claimed to have seen two men running away from the scene around the time that Melissa Repass was making her 911 call. Now, Steve Senac, this is the guy we mentioned. This was Stephanie's brother, the one that came to get his backpack that morning.
Right.
Claims that he had seen two Hispanic men walking in the region of the bowling alley that morning.
Yeah.
Perhaps even headed to the entrance. And he claims that one of the men was carrying a briefcase, which he handed to the other as they walked.
Right. Now, the dudes came in, they had a briefcase.
Yes, they did.
Right.
Now, Steve didn't piece together all this until he learned about the crime, but stated that the two men had very distinct features. One was older and one was younger, and Steve's descriptions would end up forming the basis of these police sketches that they had.
Yeah, and they're pretty good.
Yeah. Now, suspect number one was a young Hispanic male between 28 and 34 years old who stood around 5'10", weighed between 160 and 170 pounds, had wavy brown hair, brown eyes, and a mustache with no detectable accent.
Right.
That's what they said. And suspect number two was an older Hispanic male who seemed to be between 48 and 54 years old, who stood around 5'8" and weighed around 140 pounds. He had thinning salt and pepper hair with brown eyes, who spoke English but with a slight Spanish accent.
Yeah, and depending on where you read or what you hear, it's a slight to a heavy accent.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he could still speak English, but he had an accent.
Yep. Now, based on additional witness sightings, it is believed these two men had fled the scene in a green four-wheel drive vehicle, or even a van type vehicle.
Which is a big difference to me.
Yeah. Now, in the hours after reporting of this massacre at the bowling alley, Steve Senac, he gave his description of these two men to the police. And a short time later, he was called to the scene of a police roadblock, Dale.
Right.
Now, this is where they had pulled over a vehicle that had 4 Hispanic guys in it.
With a lot of cash.
Yeah, a lot of cash. And they got Steve out there to see if he could identify any of these men that would perhaps the ones he saw outside the bowling alley.
Correct.
Yeah. But Steve could not identify any of the men as the ones he had seen earlier.
Nope, they let them go.
Yeah, they just let them go. Which, it is
What are you going to do, yeah?
Yeah.
If he says that's not them, it's not them. As far as he's concerned.
Yep. And it wasn't long after that the descriptions of these two men were verified by survivor Ida Holguin, who had survived multiple gunshots of the massacre and was able to add a lot more descriptions of the gunmen.
Yes, because she's seen them, definitely.
Yeah. And Ida believed that these two men had been at the bowling alley at some time prior to this shooting, in the days, weeks, and months before.
Yeah, you think like they're in there casing the joint out or something.
Mm-hmm. Just sitting around
Seeing how stuff worked.
see who's coming and going, who worked where, and what people did.
Where regular staff hours, where the office is, the layout, schedule, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
But now Ida also believed that the gunman had not gone to the bowling alley that day to rob the place, but she would state that the two men, her quote was, were looking for something else before they went to the safe.
Yeah, like he was trying to find something before there was like, oh, well, shit, let's just get some money.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of people think that.
Yeah.
Because if it was coming just to rob the place, why are you leaving the damn money in the, why not take it all?
If you're going to rob, you're going to take every bit of money that's in that safe.
Yeah, you're going to take that and whatever's in people's pockets.
Yeah. Rings.
And wallets and that kind of sort.
Yeah. Empty pockets, people.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And it become theorized by some that violence might not have been the gunman's motive. They had left behind an undisclosed amount of cash, like we mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So basically they're saying they thought maybe they just coming in there to do some stuff instead of just rob them.
Yeah, looking for something.
Yeah, looking for something and didn't give a damn what they had to do to get it, apparently.
Nonetheless, the case began to pivot away from being focused entirely on a motive robbery. And that was when the investigators began to narrow in on specific rumors. Las Cruces Bowl was somehow connected to organized crime, either directly or indirectly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, shortly after this shooting took place, rumors started swirling that the owner, Ronald Senac, had some kind of shady business going on.
Well, at the time of the shooting, he just happened to be out of town.
Yeah.
On a golf trip to Arizona?
Arizona.
Oh, yeah.
On a golf trip.
Just happened to be.
Out of town, yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Everything looks a little iffy on him to
Yeah.
me. So like maybe somebody coming in here to give him a little message about something.
Yeah.
Something that's just kind of, something's not adding up here.
But they put Ronald Senac under a microscope, man. And this Mark Myers, that detective we mentioned before, he was even quoted as saying that we investigated all the angles at the time, and thousands of man-hours went in trying to prove those theories, but we couldn't prove anything. We put Ronald Senac under a microscope and couldn't find anything. He said, to date, all we know for sure, it was a robbery homicide.
Yeah, I think there were rumors like he was working with some cartel or something, so they even checked all that stuff.
Yep.
Just said they couldn't find any links.
Now, in the months after this case, the investigators began to focus on R.J. Senac. He was the younger son of the bowling alley's owner, Ronald.
Right.
And he tended the bar there at the bowling alley.
Yep.
And several tips came in and been received by police claiming that R.J. was involved in some kind of drug activity.
Yeah, they even thought maybe he was dealing drugs from behind the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, when they checked into him, they did find out that he had like a cocaine addiction, but nothing other than that they could actually ever prove that he was dealing or anything else.
Yeah.
But they couldn't ever find nothing else that linked him to the case, and actually he was cleared of any wrongdoing and died of a drug overdose in May of '97 at the age of only 36.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, there was another lead that came in from a local woman. Her name was Irma Tizurina. I think I'm probably messing that name up.
Close enough for me.
Yep. And this was shortly after the shooting, and she made contact with the police and claimed to have encountered two men that matched the description of the shooters.
Yeah, this is the lady said she was keeping them in her house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And according to her, she claimed that two men stayed with her
Yeah.
at around the time of the massacre.
Even saying that the time of day they could hear all the helicopters coming across.
Yeah.
Because they said they had, like 2 or 3 helicopters, including the Border Patrol's Black Hawk
Yeah.
helicopter flying overhead trying to find these people. I mean, they done a lot trying to chase them down that first day, having all those roadblocks and the coppers out looking to see.
Mm-hmm.
But, some people said they seen them running on foot, and then, like you said, that other thing about the 4-wheel drive or a van, so I don't know which one was which, but
Yep.
they were trying.
And she would even undergo a polygraph test, which at the time was pretty valuable to investigators.
Yeah. Well, at this point, they kind of thought that was a big deal.
Yeah. After taking this polygraph and providing police with details of the two men that stayed with her, Irma recanted her claims of all this.
Yeah.
And police made note of her frequent drug use and later stopped talking about the crime.
Yeah. She's like, never mind.
And just like R.J. Senac, Irma Teran would pass away at an early age due to drugs.
Accidental overdose.
And she died in May of 2001. She even claimed that the guys in the house were just sort of joking around, saying we're right under their nose and they don't even know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, this drug deal, I think, maybe she was somebody who knew them. They came in, she kept them hid for a while, and then when she started wanting to talk a little bit, somebody come by to fix that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it sounds like to me.
But in the several months to come, they weren't any closer to solving this case.
No.
Mm-mm.
Nothing.
And they were thinking that perhaps it was just a robbery gone wrong or a heinous crime committed by two men with no remorse.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
But perhaps there was some explanation to them leaving some of the money behind.
Yeah, like what though?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all.
And I don't know, if it's just coming in to rob a place, you wouldn't walk in with no mask, no gloves. You would come in to get the money and get the hell out.
Yes.
I mean,
in and out quick.
I don't know. I guess in my mind now, I don't know. These people might have been cartel dudes that didn't give a shit, But in my mind, most people who are so-called burglars or robbers or whatever,
mm-hmm.
they're not going to come in there and kill a bunch of kids. They're in there to get money and get out.
Yeah.
They're not coming in there for, trying to execute 7 people and then leaving money in the damn safe.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't make sense.
I agree. Now, because of the brutality of the crime, it seemed like the shooting of all the 7 hostages might have been meant to send a message.
Yeah, that's more.
And maybe to a former employee or acquaintance of the bowling alley staff, and maybe involved in some kind of way.
Yeah, and then some people even thought maybe that Steve guy was setting them up, or whatever. But I just don't see how you can just be setting up your sister and her kids
mm-hmm.
to be killed. I just don't buy that either.
It just seems kind of personal to me to set the desk on fire, papers on top of the desk,
mm-hmm.
and be rummaging through file cabinets looking for something. Yeah, this Ronald Senac, the bowling alley owner, he seems very sketchy to me.
There's a lot of shadiness going on there where you just happen to be out of town.
Yeah.
And then you think about Steve, like, well, did he know something? Was what they were looking for? Was that in his backpack that he came to get?
Could have been.
We just happened to have it and walk right out before they got there.
Mm-hmm.
But, then that could be just a far-fetched theory too. But like I said, because I just don't see somebody setting up their family to be executed.
Let's talk about this Steve leaving the bowling alley. That come and got his backpack.
Right.
You'd said something about him, maybe the robbers thought that he was working that day and was just leaving, and he wasn't going to be in there.
Right. So if they have been casing out the joint for a while, they would know that, like on Saturday morning now, if this is the usual case, that there's usually the manager lady and her kids, and then a cook, whether it's Ida or the one who, I don't know if we even said that. Did we say that
mm-hmm.
she was there? Yeah, or like Ida, or the other lady, whoever the other cook was, it wasn't there that day, and then so they would know they would be like 2 grown women, some kids, and then 1 man.
Yeah.
So maybe they were already in the parking lot waiting to get close to make sure all the employees got there, so they wouldn't be caught from behind. And then once they saw the woman and the kids go in, and then the other cook goes in, and then they see a man go in, like, well, all the employees are here that's coming in here. So they see him walk in the door, so they're like, well, let's go. So they get out of the car, start walking, and then next thing you know, he's coming back out. So like, oh, wait a minute. So that kind of probably throw him off. But they also see that he walks out and the door's not locked. So they think, well, maybe he's gone. It's even going to be easier. So then they go in.
Yeah.
And then a little bit later is when the guy that's actually working comes in, but he's bringing his 2 kids with him. And then kind of come up by surprise at the back, and that's why they were already in the office doing what they were doing instead of watching the door to see if anybody else come in.
Yeah.
So I think that's a plausible theory.
Could very well be.
didn't help them out much either way, and for nobody. But I still think that might have been why they just went on in to start doing what they were doing.
Yeah. But now, for Stephanie, the office manager there, she remained frightened after all this, man.
Oh my God!
Even choosing to barely leave the house. Even when she did, she would show signs of post-traumatic stress disorder.
I mean, she's been shot in the head multiple times.
Yeah.
Man. I mean, come on.
Her loved ones once recall her, as a carefree, loving, had an attitude of just, loving life, and then after that, she just changed.
You imagine? You mean you're out somewhere and you hear a damn firework go off or something? After that, you would just be frozen in panic. I would.
Oh, yeah.
Just freak out, hit the ground.
But Stephanie would pass away in 1999 due to complications from her shooting-related injuries.
Right. There's no details on that. It was shooting related.
Yeah, and she was survived by her family, including her daughter Melissa, the one that made
who was the hero of the story.
Yeah, made the 911 call. Yeah, and Melissa and Ida Holguin remained the sole survivors of this shooting.
It's been 32 years.
Yeah, and they don't have
nothing
now. And this bowling alley has changed hands several times. Ronald was, unfortunately, after the shooting, a week after this happened, Dale.
I think it was 6 days.
Yeah, he opened the bowling alley back up.
Yeah.
I guess they cleared it for him to open it back up.
And a lot of people was like, what in the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
And he was basically like, well, let's go on. We got to get moving. Got to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like to me he's needing some damn money.
Sounds like it.
I mean, why would you do that? I mean, have they even got your daughter's blood cleaned up off the carpet? I mean, God almighty.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. And then, hell, less than a year later, he would close it due to bankruptcy because he owed somebody over $2 million. He was in debt or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just crazy.
He had to shut it down.
So that tells me he was in debt to somebody for a lot of damn money.
Yeah. Yeah, he had some stuff going on behind the scenes, man.
Mm.
And that's what gets me. They didn't look into his background, his financial information. Yeah, because, anything, sometimes when stuff like this happens, they check all that stuff.
Yeah.
All this. Did they not look into that?
I'm sure they did, but I don't know, if he's working with the cartel, they probably don't have no contracts written up. He ain't going to find no paperwork on that. I ain't saying he was, but...
it's just...
It's just a lot of... Like you said, it seemed like somebody was sending somebody a damn message. You
Yeah.
need to pay your damn bills.
Yeah, exactly. Now, in 2010, there was a documentary that was released about all this titled A Nightmare in Las Cruces.
Mm-hmm.
And it was directed by Charlie Min, who had learned about the case back in 1990. He had been a college student living on the other side of the country. He was watching all this on Unsolved Mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
And he learned about this, and he continued to stick with it for years after the fact, and he remained...
Yeah, he just couldn't shake it, his story.
Yeah. It stuck with him.
Yeah, I saw an interview with him, man, and he was talking about, some of these victims, they didn't want to do it at first. And it was like, they thought maybe he was just going to exploit them about, what was going on. And then when they really met with him and found out he was trying to help them and tell their story of how this has really, bothered them. It's not like, hey, we got shot and now we lived and we're all good. It was just talking about, like you were saying about the PTSD and all that and all this, relearning everything and telling their story about how bad it was. And them also living with survivor's guilt about, why me? Why do we get to live and they didn't get to live? And it's just pretty bad. And he was talking, he's like, I've been with these families just about 6 weeks making this movie, and he was pretty emotional about it. He said, I can't imagine what they've been doing, for the last 20 years. At this point it was just 20 years. And so it was just, it really impacted him a lot. Mm-hmm. And I still want to see the movie.
Yeah, it's available on YouTube. I think it's $3.99 on YouTube, yeah. Now, shortly after the 20th anniversary of this crime, a documentary was released, and it seemed to spark a new wave of interest in this massacre. And figures related to the case began to speak openly for the first time, including Audrey Teran. This is the wife of Steve, and had the two little girls.
2 girls, yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, she had to bury her entire family in the wake of all this and remained affected by the events.
There's a lot of quotes from her.
Yeah. And she was even quoted as saying, you wait and wait and wait. The first few years, maybe the first 12 years, there was always a lot of anxiety. I was always very antsy and wanting to know more. But after that, I had to put it aside and deal with my anxiety. I've gotten to a point where we just don't get any answers. And Audrey wanted the rest of the world to remember how violent this incident was.
It was bad.
Yeah. She said, my 2-year-old daughter was shot in the forehead, but she wasn't killed immediately. Her spinal cord was severed. If she had lived, she would have been a quadriplegic.
Yeah, she's the one that passed away on the way to the hospital.
Yeah. Maybe people in the Southwest didn't know just how horrific it was, how my daughters were mistreated. It's been 20 years and people will stop me and tell me, and they're praying for me, praying that there will be closure. Yeah, I can't imagine what this woman went through, man.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Burying the whole family.
The whole family.
But like I said, this bowling alley, once known as the Las Cruces Bowl, this building continues to stand in the same spot as it did.
Mm-hmm.
And it's changed ownerships more than once.
Yeah, it's been 2 or 3 different bowling alleys, but I think after this, it's just hard to come back from something like this.
After that, it was Sun Lanes, and then after that, it was 10 Pin Alley.
Mm-hmm.
You can look it up on Google Street View, and the sign is still up saying 10 Pin Alley over the door.
Right.
But it's just a vacant building now. This town of Las Cruces, before this, it was pretty crime-free.
Oh, yeah, I think the year before they had 2 murders the whole year. So they doubled that in one day.
Yeah. And I think the same day there was another shooting somewhere else. That same day, totally unrelated to this. But
yeah. It's just crazy.
Yeah. This is a horrific story. And that little Melissa Repass, that little girl, man, she deserves some kind of award for this. I mean, I don't know what they did for her.
Yeah.
I hope they did plenty.
Yeah. She sort of deserved it.
Yeah.
And there is a $25,000 reward that's still available.
Yeah.
If you know anything about this crime. So if you guys know anything, or if you know, or you think you might know anything, call Crime Stoppers 1-800-222-8477. Or you can also text your information to crimes at 24637.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Your information will remain anonymous.
That's right.
Yep. Or you can just contact the Las Cruces Police Department directly.
Yep. 575-528-4222.
But the men responsible for this crime continue to elude investigators. But Audrey Teran, the widow and mother of the 3 victims,
she envisioned them living in fear.
Yeah.
In misery. But she probably hoping they do anyway.
Yeah, but I think these guys left the country.
I do too.
Yeah. And I believe this Ronald Senac, there's just some shady dealings going on.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of puzzled about really what's going on. If Ronald had some kind of deal, what would it have been,
Yeah.
Did the guy have a bunch of cocaine in the place and that's what they were looking for? Did the other guy, the younger guy take it and go with it? Did the kid that had the cocaine addiction, did he owe him a lot of money? And they're trying to get daddy to pay and daddy ain't paying, so they come in to go, well, you're going to pay this way.
Yeah.
Could be that something. That's there's a lot of different angles this could be.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy could be innocent, but he just seems a little shady for me.
It just seems really, really sketchy that he had to shut down, less than a year later.
Right, owing $2 million to somebody.
Because of a bowling alley.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy, but it's a sad, sad story with no ending.
Yeah. All right, Dale, that is the Las Cruces Bowling Alley Massacre.
That is it, brother.
Yeah, it's rough. But I feel for them families and Melissa Repass, man. She was a trooper.
Yes.
Yep. All right, dude, we're going to get out of here.
Let's roll.
We want everyone to be safe. Be careful and always be aware of your surroundings.
Because the next episode could be about you.
This is the Crack House Chronicles.